Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast, where today we're not going over UFC. It is break week. There's no UFC this week, but there is an NFL draft coming up, and we're just going to go ahead and run through some quick scenarios for the Buffalo Bills mock draft season, baby. There's a lot of needs that the Bills need. They're this close to being Super Bowl champions. They're just missing a few more pieces, and we're just going to sit down and try to figure out how they finally get over the hump. So first and foremost, it's not going to be a long pod. We're just going to go quickly over what they need, and there's a lot of differing opinions about what the Buffalo Bills need. Some people think that the Bills need a safety. I don't agree with that at all. I think their biggest needs are corner, defensive tackle, and edge. We need to get better in the trenches on the defensive end. We had a horrible defense last year, and we lost the starting corner in Rasul Douglas. We're gonna have to replace him. We paid Christian Benford a ton of money. I'm always at like 17, 18 million per year. So we need to get him a running mate on the other side at a discount. And you do that through the draft. There's other needs we do need, like people that say we need safety as a major one. No, but it doesn't hurt to have one right now. Our depth with Taylor Rapp and Colt Bishop, I think those two are fine starting. But Taylor Rapp is pretty injury prone. So then you throw in DeMar Hamlin. And although he's a good bench player, is not really what you need. Wide receiver, we're fine at wide receiver. We Everybody eats mentality. You don't need a dominant ball hog by any means, but to have a speedster is something that the Bills have mentioned time and time again. And we look at their dirty visits; they've done nothing but interview people that have speed. On the other side, we also have linebacker Matt Milano's new contract is he's gone next year. He's probably not going to be a Buffalo Bill after this year, so that is something we're going to have to address. I like Dorian Williams. Hopefully he makes another leap forward, but is that really something you want to depend on? I don't know. And then in regards to our line, I mean, Connor McGovern could be gone next year. David Edwards could be gone next year. There's a lot of contracts where we have people for this year, but we like to draft ahead. If we think someone's going to leave next year, we draft it a year early, get them in the system. We're someone that like to keep our own guys, and we want to get them all developed when it's time for them to step up. And that's how you keep continual success. That being said, running back might be something we have to address. I don't think they're going to pay James Cook. And if they don't pay James Cook, which is justifiably so, I don't think you give that man 15 million a year. I think the city of Buffalo all agree that James Cook is a great player and we love James Cook. But we need someone that's going to play 50% of the snaps. You don't pay 15 million to someone that's only going to play half the snaps. That's just not a sensible thing to do. I love James Cook. I really want him to stay, but not at that cost. So if that means we're going to have to trade him or we're going to have to let him walk in free agency, that means we're going to have to pick up a running back. So it's a pretty loaded running back class. So if you want to pick up a solid one over in the fourth or fifth round, I think you are able to do so. Now we talked about Bill's visits, and that kind of gives an indication, just a little bit, a small gander into who the Bills are thinking about drafting. We looked at Landon Jackson, the guy that we know with alopecia that did the smacking drill. I mean, whatever. He was in high school. He looks much better now since he's been playing in Arkansas. He's a good player. Do I want to take him at number 30? No. But he is a good player, and the Bills have talked to him. TJ Sanders is someone that they spoke to, defensive tackle. There's a lot of defensive tackles. They spoke to Deion Walker. They spoke to Zeke Biggers. They spoke to a lot of defensive tackles, which is another indication that we might even double dip when it comes to defensive tackle. We might also double dip in regards to getting a late round receiver or corner as well. We spoke to Torrey Horton. We spoke to Jalen Lane. We spoke to Dante Thornton. All of those are very, very late round receivers. So I don't think people that are hoping that we grab Matthew Golden or grab someone super, super early, I don't think that's going to happen. We spoke to Isaiah Bond. He doesn't really fit like in regards to character. He has some issues, and the Bills don't generally draft that way. But they did give him a 30 visit, and he is slipping badly on draft board. So if they want to save some money, they can do that. They didn't speak to a lot of safeties, but they did speak to Billy Bowman as someone that's getting a lot of hype around. Um, I'm trying to think of other. Um, I don't think they spoke to any other safeties, to be quite honest with you. Defensive tackles, they also spoke to Tyleek Williams. They spoke to Omar Norman Lott. They spoke to a lot of defensive tackles. Good Lord. And a lot of wide receivers. Arian Smith, I don't understand why. Please, for the love of God, don't draft him. They spoke to a few linebackers, mainly Chris Paul is the biggest one that they've been speaking to. That's someone that would go in like the second round. So that is something. Um, yeah, all receivers they spoke to are super, super fast. They spoke to a few edges. They spoke to, again, Landon Jackson. They spoke to Femi Oladipo. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. They spoke to a few, like three or four edge. Braden Swinson is another one they spoke to. And tight end, I saw they spoke to Thomas Fidone. We do need a tight end three. And Fidone is someone you can get super, super late. So he's an athletic freak. He just has a little bit of an injury history, but as your tight end three, I'm okay with that. And a lot of corners. We spoke to Trey Amos, who I love. We spoke to Dorian Strong. We spoke to Benjamin Morrison. It's pretty evident that we're going to take a corner pretty early there. All of those are first and second round corners. We didn't talk to a lot of like fifth, sixth round corners. We're probably going to take early with one of those. We're going to take corner with one of those first three picks. I can almost guarantee it. And that is something we really need to do. I mean, my absolute dream scenario, as much as it sucks to say, is trading down. I don't want to make a pick round one. On Thursday, I hope we don't make a pick. We do not have a third round pick. And I think there's a lot of value to be had in the third round. And we're pick 30. We're damn near pick second round anyway. With two picks that make a difference between the second round. We're not going to take a quarterback. That fifth round, that fifth year option, it is what it is. If we have to sacrifice it to get another good player, let's do so. Because I think we can grab one of these good corners in the beginning of the second round. If we can fall down into like dream scenario, we speak to, well, let's look at some of the people we would deal with. So potential trade down candidates. I'm looking at people like the New York Giants at pick number 34. We have a good relationship with New York. Their head coach was our former OC, and we've done business with them before. The Browns are also another team that we just did business with Amari Cooper, which is the reason we don't have our third round pick. Their pick number 33. If there's someone they really want, we can move back three spots and get a third round pick. I'm fine with that. Same with Jacksonville, the Raiders, and the Eagles. That's pick 36, 37, and even 32. That's still in the first round. If there's any way we can move back 5 or 6 bucks and get a third round pick, that would be huge. That would be very that would make my entire day. So again, I don't want to make a pick on Thursday. If we do, that's fine as long as it's defensive tackle or corner. I'm fine with it. I don't want to see a receiver. I don't want anything like that. Also, in regards to people we could trade with, I was looking at some of the teams that need help. The Falcons have a first, a second, a fourth, and a seventh. They only have four picks in the entire draft. They don't have a third, so it's kind of hard to trade with them. We have a ton of fourth round picks. We have two second round picks. We don't really need anything they have there. But if they're desperate for more talent and more picks, the Bills have 10. We're not gonna roster 10 people. If we made 10 picks in this draft, not all 10 of them will make the team. I promise you that. And Brandon Beane is notorious for moving around all the time. I don't know if we're going to trade up. I don't know if we're going to trade down. He's a wild card, but he does have a trade addiction. We're going to move somewhere along the way. And I think he's going to find a way to get a third round pick. But the Falcons really need picks. The Commanders don't have a third or a fifth round pick. We have multiple fifth round picks. What do we have? Like two or three. So we could definitely do some trading, maybe move around with the Commanders later on in the draft. The Vikings have a compository third round. We can snap that up for them. I mean, if they don't want it, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what we're doing. And then the Rams have no second round pick or fifth round pick. We have 2 seconds. Maybe they want to do some business in regard to our second round pick and moving down just a smidge. Teams that have multiple third rounders, again, we will end up with a third round pick. I don't know how, I don't know when. I can almost guarantee we will have a third round pick. Bean will move for a third rounder. Teams with multiple are the Browns, the Texans, the Jags, fuck the Chiefs, the Rams, the Patriots, the Saints, the Giants, San Francisco, and the Seahawks. So there's quite a few teams with multiple third round picks, and multiple teams like the Texans and the Browns and the Giants that we've traded with recently. Patriots are in division; they probably won't go near us. But the Rams have multiple third round picks, and they have a few amount of picks in the draft. That's definitely someone I could see us targeting to trade with. Um, Trade up candidates. The Vikings. Some people are talking about trading up into the 20s. I personally don't want to do that at all. I think that's a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. But if there's someone we absolutely need, absolutely want, that's in the mid 20s, say like Green, Mike Green is sliding down, or James Pierce is all the way out like 28 or something, and you really want the edge rusher and you want to move up, you don't have to give a ton for it. The Vikings at number 24. The Rams at number 26, as mentioned earlier, who need picks. And then the Commanders at pick 29. We'd only have to move up one spot with the Commanders. So those are the three teams that I wouldn't mind trading up with. I don't want to trade up, but if we had to, that's who I would do it with. And then we're just going to talk into my guys, people I really like at defensive tackle. I like Walter Nolan. I know he has some character issues, so I don't know if the Bills will take him, but I think he's a great player. Everyone is mocking Kenneth Grant to the Bills. It'd be a perfect fit. I have no problem with them taking him at 30. It is what it is. Tyleik Williams is another good player. I think he's more of a second round talent because he's more of a run stuffer. He's not really getting to the quarterback anymore. But I'm fine with him if they want to take him at 30. I'm not going to bat an eye. We spoke with, I think we had some Zoom meetings with Shamar Turner, so that's interesting. The edge rusher, TJ, or it's not edge rusher, the defense tackle, TJ Sanders and Darius Alexander, and two more defensive tackles I like quite a bit. You can get them a little later in like the second, third round. Joshua Farmer, we're talking fourth round. Jordan Phillips, we're talking fifth round. We have Jamari Caldwell and Derek Harmon, sorry, is another one that's being targeted for the Bills super early in the first round. So yeah, those are kind of all the defensive tackles I would not mind taking early or just in general. In addition, we have cornerbacks. Again, defensive tackle and cornerback are what we really, really, really need. Cornerbacks I love are Trey Amos. I like Siobhan Revel, but that's an asterisk. I think he is the third best corner in this draft. But coming off an ACL, we need someone that's going to start right away. So that really, really, really concerns me. Jahad Barron, I think, is a little overrated, but he's more of a Swiss Army knife where you can put him everywhere. We really just need an outside corner. Um, but I wouldn't mind him at all. Benjamin Morrison is another one that's super, super good, but he's coming off of injury. He's had a repeat hip injury. He had the same injury in high school, and now he has it in college. So that's a little concerning. He might be an injury concern, but if he's there in like the second round, I would absolutely love that. Maxwell Harrison is one that has some character issues. Hasn't been playing corner a long time, but damn, was he good when he was there. So that 4.2 or 4.3 speed that he showed off at the combine, yeah, he's real. Dorian Strong is someone the Bills have an eye on, but I'm pretty 50-50 on him and Azareye'h Thomas. Sorry. I don't know. Their tape looks all right. They just, I don't know. Something about them makes me scared to have them start right away. Jacob Parrish is someone I like a lot that you can get in the third or fourth round. He's a super, super good fallback option. And what is the other guy? Zy Alexander. Don't hate him either. Those are kind of all the corners I like. I don't like any of the late round corners. If we're grabbing a corner, I think the third round is the cutoff. Because whoever we grab at corner is going to have to start. So I don't want anyone under the third round starting. That's your question, Bradford. Um, in regards to edges, I know we spoke to Nick Scorton. He's a pretty decent player. James Pierce Jr. has been dropping in a lot of these recent mock drafts. Landon John Jackson is pretty wishy-washy in regards to the first or second round. JT Tomoalu, JT from Ohio State, I like a lot. He's getting picked in the second quite a bit, back end of the second. I mean, I'd really, really like that for us. I think he's a good fit. Princely, I like a ton. Again, Oladacio is someone that they had in. I love Ashton Gelate. I think he's super, super good. No one talks about that dude. I think he's a phenomenal player out of Louisville. Jared Ivey is pretty decent. And if we're waiting a very, very long time for edge, I'm fine with Johnny Walker. He's a little bit of an experiment, but he's a very, very just athletic, talented kid. Again, we have AJ Espinosa is probably not going to be a Bill next year, and Joey Bosa is on a 1 year deal, so he may not be a Bill next year. So again, these are that and DT. I know we have Larry. I know we have Daquan Jones, but Daquan Jones probably not a Bill next year. Larry probably not a Bill next year. There's just a lot of these where they have good players this year, but we're looking to the future. We like to get them in early and retain our own. So. We're definitely in a position of need at corner and at defensive tackle. And defensive end is probably the next highest one on the list, to be honest with you. In regards to the ones that are okay, like wide receiver, I love Jalen Noel. He's actually like one of my favorite players to take at wide receiver. I just don't like where he's going. I don't think it's worth it there. I'd much rather a corner or a edge or defensive tackle. I don't think we're going to get Jalen Noel, but I think he's one hell of a player. Same with Jalen Royals. I love Jalen Royals. I think he's a very, very good player as well. Kyle Williams is someone who was everybody's sleeper and now has rose super, super high in drafts. So we're probably not going to get him anymore. Ty Felton is kind of what I keep drafting to them because he has a ton of speed. He has a great hands, and he's right around that fourth round marker. I like Pat Bryant. No one's talking about this dude. All he really does is go long, but that's all we really need or want currently. So I'm perfectly fine with Pat Bryant. I think he has really good hands. I absolutely love Nick Nash. He is not a speedster at all. He's pretty slow, but he has great hands. He's just I think he's one of the best receivers in the draft. He's just super slow, so no one wants him. But I think he's very, very good, and I think he's going to be a very underrated like fantasy option this year. He's due for a breakout. That kid is good. Isaiah Bond is just strictly speed, but a lot of character issues. And same with they had a visit with Keandre Lambert Smith. I think he's a super, super fast wide receiver. He ran in the 4.2s. He's kind of a one trick pony. I don't think he's that great, but he's going super, super late. So if we're addressing all the other positions and then taking him late, I am perfectly fine with it. There are a few drafts where you're like, if a player is that talented and they fall a little bit and the Bills take them, I understand. Do I want them to do it? No. But if they did take it, the talent was just too much to pass up. Best player available needed to be taken. I would understand that if Malachi Starks, the safety, falls. They're basically all safeties. If Malachi Starks falls, if Xavier Watts falls, if Billy Bowman falls, or if Andrew Makuba falls, those are the top four safeties in my opinion. And some of them aren't going until like the very back end of the second. That's first round talent going in the second round. If they're still there and the Bills hop on it, I get it. I totally get it. I don't want that to happen, but I totally get it. And again, my dream scenario is that we move. My thoughts are that we move. But if we do stay put at 30, there's only a few people that I would actually want and be there's a few people that I'm excited with if we stay and pick at 30. Kenneth Grant for sure, who's the most mock player to the Bills. Donovan Ezer, I can't say his name. The dude from Boston College, the edge, Donovan, is nasty. He's probably one of the best defensive ends floating around pick 30. Ezeraku, I believe is how you say it. Trey Amos is one of the ones I mock the most of the Bills. I think he's just a perfect fit. Maxwell Harrison, I'm perfectly fine with taking at 30. Siobhan Revel, I have my reservations, but I'd accept taking Siobhan Revel. I think he met the Bills as well. Benjamin Morrison, I have the same reservations, injury reservations, because these dudes have to start. But I would fully understand it. Walter Nolan, again, character concerns, but in regards to a football player, I'm perfectly fine with it. TJ Sanders, you're pushing it, but I'm okay with TJ Sanders getting taken at pick 30. That's probably the back end of defensive tackle I'm willing to take at 30. And then James Pierce Jr., the edge, who is sometimes going in the top 15, sometimes going in the second round. Who knows what's going on with him, but I'm fine with him going at 30. That seems to be that middle ground sweet spot. So let's just stop talking about it. We'll go ahead and we'll jump and we'll do three. We're going to do three mock drafts. Okay. We're going to do one where we take a corner with the first pick. We're not going to do any trades. We're just going to stick and pick. I'm going to take one where we do a corner, one where we do an edge, one where we do a defensive tackle, and we'll see which way the Bills should go and which team we seem to like most. So Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's see. Pull this up. We'll do a fast mock. So, alrighty. For the Buffalo Bills, let's go ahead and enter the solo draft. My internet's going a little slow today, but it is what it is. Okay, so we have Cameron Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, the usual suspects there. We're getting all the way to Buffalo here. Did I click normal or did I hit fast? Oops. Again, we're going to redirect all the trades. And right now, let's do what order did I say? We're going to do corner first. So let's go over to defense. Let's see the cornerbacks we have. So we have all the guys that we like. We have Maxwell Harrison. I don't know why he's at 58. He ain't going to be there. Trey Amos at 47 is insane. They have Revel and Morrison both going before Amos. That's interesting. Again, I don't want to be worried about injury concerns. So the next man up would be Trey Amos. So I'm ignoring that this says 47. We're going to take the best pick, that best fit for the Bills. So we're going to start with Trey Amos. In the second round, that's where we make our hay here. Again, we're not going to accept any trades. We took our corner. So next need is defensive tackle. Kenneth Grant is still showing there. I don't know how or why. That's just unrealistic. I don't even want to press it for that reason. I mean, there's no way he'll still be there. There's absolutely no way. So you know what? I'm going to do us a favor, and I'm not going to pick Kenneth Grant. That would be an absolute slam dunk, but there's no way. He may not be there at 30. There's no way he's there in the second round. So we're going to go over and start thinking about who the Bills interviewed. They did interview TJ Sanders. They did bring in a visit with Braden Swinson. So that's probably the two we're looking at. Which one do I think it's still going to be there? I think Swinson has a better chance of getting back to us. So I'm going to take TJ Sanders here. We picked pretty close. I'm going to hope that Swinson is still there when we are on the clock. Let's see what we have. Let's go right back to Edge, and we have he is gone. That's the game you play. Man, okay, he's gone. I chose wrong. So let's take a. I love Ashton from Louisville the most, in all honesty. I kind of like him even more than Swinson. Let me take a quick peek over at linebacker because they did have Chris Paul Jr. in for an interview. They love Chris Paul Jr. I understand that, but there's other needs. Let's go over and take a peek at wide receiver. Wide receiver, they did meet with Jalen Royals. I love Kyle Williams, but there's a lot of speed late in the draft. We don't necessarily need it right now. Take a quick peek at running back just to see. Judkins is damn good. Um, we're going to shoot and try to hit Tootin later. So I'm going to go back to defense. We're going to go back over to edge. And we need to help our defense. As much as it's fun to draft a running back and a wide receiver, we're going to help our defense. That's the reason we were not in the Super Bowl this year. So we addressed corner, we addressed defensive tackle, we addressed edge. Now it's time where we can play around a little bit. You can think about double dipping. Josiah Stewart, interesting. Jack Sawyer. I don't want to double dip there. If I'm double dipping anywhere, it's at defensive tackle. And there's still a few that I like on here. Um, they met with Walker. I don't mind Phillips. He's just a big body. I don't mind Jamari Caldwell. There's a few defensive tackles I like. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to look at offense. I'm going to look at receiver. We need some speed. I've seen some people mock Savion Williams to us. I personally don't like that. Bills had in Isaac Tesla, but I wasn't really a fan of his game. They had Isaiah Bondon, but good lord, he's falling. We're not going to pick him. I don't like a lot of this, to be honest with you. Tootin still showing there. He's a home run hitter. I'm not really fond of how this draft is going, to be quite honest with you. But I do think we're going to double down with defensive tackle, and we're going to take Walker just because they had him. Did they have Walker in for a visit? I'm pretty sure they had Walker in for a visit. You know what? No, we're not. We are gonna go, and I am. It's tough, man. I like Kobe Hudson a lot too. No one ever talks about Kobe Hudson. Keandre Lambert Smith they had in, and he's so low. We can wait on receiver for quite some time. So you know what? Screw it. Let's take Tootin and have our James Cook replacement because at the end of the day, he's probably not coming back. So let's go ahead and secure Josh with a running back. And then we're going to go right back into defensive tackle and see which of those three that we liked are still there. We still have Jack Sawyer at edge. Don't hate that. Jamari Caldwell is the last one of the ones I liked. I know they had Ty Robinson in for an interview, but I'm not a big fan of him. So let's go ahead and take the last defensive tackle I mentioned liking in Jamari Caldwell. So far we're good. We addressed edge. We're done with defensive tackle. Um, he addressed corner. We got ourselves a running back. Let's see what wide receivers are there. Just the ones that they had interviewed and Lane and Bond. I don't think they're going to take Bond. I think their morals will not allow them to do so. See them taking someone like Jalen Lane. That's what they're going to do. We're going to take Jalen Lane here. We're going to take one of our visits. And then tight end, been waiting because I was looking for Fedone. He's at 235. That's just not, they don't fuck around. They will draft, they will overdraft. So let's take Thomas Fedone, address that situation. So we got Josh a running back, we got him a tight end. We double dipped the defensive tackle. We have an edge. We have a corner. This is really where we can just start placing stuff and think of the future. They did interview a few punters and kickers as well. I don't think we draft a kicker, but we did let Sam Martin go. There is a chance they take a punter. They took the punt god in the sixth round a few years ago with Matt Ariza. They might do it again. We don't have a ton of holes now, but let's think about the future. Let's look at a guard. I kind of like Clay Webb, to be honest with you. Let's take Clay Webb, just in case David Edwards leaves or, you know, yeah, let's go ahead with that. And then we have to finally, did we address wide receiver already? I don't even remember at this point. We took Amos, oh yeah, we took Jalen Lane. So I took a tight end. Now we can address, let's just take a peek at linebacker. I'm not going to know any of these dudes, to be 100% honest with you. Notre Dame, that sounds good to me. Let's take this linebacker. We addressed offensive line. And our last pick, we'll go ahead and we'll take a punter instead of paying one. Who is the top rated punter here? Kai Kruger. Cool. Let's take him. And there's the first draft. We were able to address, we had Trey Amos, TJ Sanders, Ashton Gelade at edge. I like that for the first three picks. We went ahead and took Tootin, so we can kind of save money on James Cook next year. Jalen Lane is a speedster that they needed. Thomas Fedone, Jamari Caldwell for another defensive tackle. It's a little bit of a project, but it's a late pick. Clay Webb at guard, Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame and at linebacker, and then a punter, Kai Kroger. I've had better drafts. But this one's not terrible. This just screams like Trey Amos, TJ Sanders will probably start. Gelade will probably have to start next year. I know we have Javon Solomon that we're also working on. Very interesting draft. Okay, so that is corner. Let's go ahead and do one for, I think the next one I said was edge. So let's do a defensive end draft. Give me 1 second. All right, we are the Buffalo Bills. We're gonna do a fast draft. I really don't even have to do 7 rounds, to be honest with you. The last three, I weren't even sure who they were. But fuck it. Let's go ahead and take seven. Buffalo Bills. Let's enter this solo draft and see what we're doing here. No matter what, we're going to take an edge first, so we'll see which ones are available. I'm hoping James Pierce Jr. is available. That's what I really, really want here. But I doubt it. He's been going in the late 20s a lot. Where are we at? So much for fast. There it goes. And we're going to reject your offer, although I would love that in real life. This is the exact situation I'm talking about, but not right now. Say, I would take that with the Bears too, to be honest with you. Okay, so we're going to stick and pick at, oh God, at edge. I don't want to take any of them really, but we have to. So let's take Donovan Ezraku. He is the best edge, in my opinion, floating there. Then we are going to take a quick look at corner and defensive tackle. And those are the next two we have to address, especially corner. There's kind of a cutoff for the quarterbacks, in my opinion. Um, and we're there. Oh, Jesus. Darian Porter is a name that's not been mentioned. He's a project. I think he's going to be a top corner in the league, but I think it's going to take a few years. So I don't think that's right for the Bills. They did speak to Dorian Strong. Had a visit with Dorian Strong. I think that might be the direction they go, but we're going to come back to it. I think he'll be there later. So I'll take TJ Sanders now and hope Dorian makes it back to us for the second pick in the second round. And moment of truth, he did. All right. So at that point, we're going to take Dorian Strong and trust the Bills scout team. So it's an interesting start to the draft. Then we start getting a little fancy here. Do we start double dipping? I want to hate double dipping with Jacob Parrish at corner, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, edge. Are there any edges I like here? And Jared Ivey later on. Johnny Walker pretty late. Yeah, we're gonna leave edge alone. Nothing inspiring. Defensive tackle. I do like CJ West. Omar Norman Lott is someone that they spoke to. So yeah, let's double up at defensive tackle. I don't even have to look at anywhere else. Linebackers. Cody Simon's decent. This is where we start taking a peek at receivers. We took Jalen Lane last time. Maybe this time we take Tesla. I like Pat Bryant. I personally would take Pat Bryant, but the Bills would probably prefer Tesla, so that's what we're gonna do here. Let's go ahead and take Tesla. So far we have an edge, we have two defensive tackles, we have a starting corner, and we have some speed on the outside. We're probably done at receiver at this point. And we start looking elsewhere. We'll start looking at running back. I like Blue is the last one I kind of like here, but we can wait on him. So we'll look at offensive tackle, guards. This is tough, man. It's so tough. Thank God I'm not a GM. Um, Even take a quick peek at safety. Why not? No, what am I doing? Get out of safety. I think the Bills are happy with their safety room. They don't need it. Okay. So yeah, I really don't like this. I don't. I hope they don't go edge first. This is not good. This is not good at all. Um, hmm. God, I love this Jack Kaiser. Apparently, let's draft him again. Go over to offense. Let's take a guard. Iowa sounds good to me. And then now we're just kind of filling stuff in. We took a linebacker, we took a guard. Other position they could potentially take as running back. Where's Blue? Let's slide him in there. And then did we take a tight end yet? We did not. Where's Fedone? They met with Fedone. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take whatever punter is there. They actually did meet with Alex Mastromano, so that's an actual pick they might take for their last pick. So, yeah, this draft is not great. So far, definitely prefer the one where we took a corner first. Um, yeah, Donovan Azaraku is good, but at that, if you have to go with TJ Sanders and Dorian Strong because you took Azaraku, I'm just not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of this draft at all. So let's go ahead and do the one where we start with a defensive tackle. This is probably corner and defensive tackle are most likely. I think I'm going to like the corner one the best. But defensive tackle has my interest. Let's see how this ultimately works out, and then we'll be done here. Very first pick, we're just going to automatically go over to defense. Let's go over to defensive tackle, and then let's see what's left. Cancel out any of these trades that are coming our way. Yep, not happening. Atlanta again. Arizona. Uh, that's not a third rounder. I'm not a fan of that. No, Miami. So Derek Harmon fell. That's interesting. I see him falling in some drafts. I see him going super early in others. He could potentially actually be there. And we're going to take him here. I like Derek Harmon as much as I like Kenneth Grant. They're kind of tied for DT1 in my opinion in that range. So I'm fine with that. Let's move over to corner. We need a corner. This isn't a want, it's a need. And we're at the same situation for when we took Azaraku. We're going to end up with Dorian Strong again. Not my favorite. I really think we need to take corner first, but it is what it is. Let's take Dorian Strong. We're going to reject any of these trades. Look over at edge. I like to get all three before I start double dipping. And here's our boys. Oladejo and Swinson are both still there. The Bills met with both, so let's take Oladipo. I like that guy a lot. I do like Prinsley too, but okay. So far, this isn't a bad draft. I like this. Let's take another peek over at defensive tackle. I think we're good at edge. I really like that guy. CJ West, I like a ton. Joshua Farmer, Jordan Phillips. They've met with some of them. I do like CJ West. Just take a peek over at safety, and there's Billy Bowman. That's interesting. Um, Let me take a quick look at offense. Wide receiver, we have Dante Thornton we met with. I'm going to go ahead and pick someone that the Bills met with. So it's either going to be Thornton or it's going to be Billy. And you know what? We're going to go Billy. We're going to take a safety. We're going to go Billy because there's multiple receivers I like here still. Billy's the only safety that I think they would actually think about taking in this scenario. So let's go back to receivers now. Leaves us with the decision between Isaac, Jalen, and Pat Bryant. I like Pat Bryant. What would the Bills do? I think they're going to draft test. But fuck it. We took Jalen once, we took Tesla once. I don't think they're going to draft Bond with this, but let's go ahead and just take him because we took the other two times. So let's take Isaiah Bond. Then we have addressed edge, we've addressed corner, we've addressed safety and wide receiver. Let's look back at the defensive tackles. I really do think they're going to double dip at DT. Um, Jared Ivey is interesting. They get double dip at edge, honestly. They like Ty Robinson, so let's go ahead and take him. I don't really like his game that much, but the Bills did for whatever reason. So now we double dip the defensive tackle and address that. Next thing we have to address, we have not touched a linebacker. In this portion of the draft, we'll start looking here. Where's my boy Jack Kaiser? um, yeah, linebacker, you can't really go wrong. Iowa, so let's take this dude, Jay. Um, and then let's take another guard. Let's take Marcus this time since we took Clay before. And then again, we're gonna end it with tight end. We need Fedone. They like Fedone. So I like Fedone. Looks like we took a safety instead of a running back essentially this draft. And we'll address running back next year in the draft. There's always going to be good running backs. And then this punter that they interviewed. So this one's interesting, starting with the DT. We got Derek Harmon, we have Dorian Strong, we have Oladejo. I do like that start. Billy Bowman, Isaiah Bond is interesting. Then we went Ty Robinson, the double dip at defensive tackle, and it's someone that the Bills interviewed. We have Jay Higgins, Marcus Tate, we got Thomas Fedone, who the Bills enjoy, and then the punter that the Bills like. So I like this draft. But I do think I felt the strongest and most comfortable with the first one, taking a corner first. So that's probably the way I'd prefer they go. I might go corner, then defensive tackle, then taking an edge. But at the end of the day, the Bills are in a good spot. The Bills are a good team. The draft is going to be super fun, and the Bills are going to be just that much better after the draft. Let's go, Buffalo.